Oh, sorry. I just hit live without thinking.
I think a
Don't worry.
one-off
All good.
live
Mhm.
villain. It's all good. Live villain based off of the Vulgaritron, or what did you call him?
The like vulgarizer or something.
Oh yeah,
That's a good name.
one-off, one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We can make that happen. Don't worry. All right. So this is gonna be fun for me to balance because I have to remember not to open anything on my left monitor, or else all of us will be covered. Um, do we just want to talk for a minute and wait and see if people come in, or should we just go right into it?
Yeah, we can talk for a second
Okay.
and just kind of hang out. I'm cool with that. I just got it pulled up on my other monitor because I was like, oh wait, yeah, I should do that so I can like see stuff.
Did you shave?
I did, yeah,
I'm disappointed.
yesterday.
Why?
I'm looking orange. Hold on.
I'd say it was like
There we go.
either I shave or I'm gonna have to grow it all the way back out. I couldn't commit.
No, you just gotta commit, Cameron. You just
I know.
commit.
I
No,
got
you-
so close like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and just kept shaving because I'm a disappointment.
Well, I'm glad you said that and I didn't have to.
I think I'm the only one of my friends that doesn't have facial hair right now. I think all the other Beetle Bros and everybody has facial hair. Steve, yeah. M, I guess.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. To be fair, I can't grow a beard to save my life, so
I can try really hard, but it fights me the whole way.
I've learned to lean and commit. Like normally there's a bald spot, like right there. You just let it grow and you don't mention it, especially because I'm like 5'6". No one notices that there's a bald spot. Because no one goes underneath my chin and goes, "Hey, do you know what you're bald underneath there?" I'm like, yeah, thanks.
like get down on their knees and look up for fun. Just
Excuse me, I gotta check that beard. It's not a fully fledged beard until you are 100% grown in. And I've leaned into it. I've committed. I think this is the longest it's been in quite a while. What do you think, Cameron?
Did you shave at your wedding?
I trimmed for the wedding, and then I made a mess up for my dad's funeral, where I accidentally used the one guard instead of the two guards, so it was like real close. But I have not been baby faced in like years. I don't think.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it was like when I think I probably was still working at Studios Inc. when you last were fully baby faced.
Yeah, and I think my hair was like here when you first started working there.
Yeah.
Now we're like
oh my gosh.
here. You can't see where my hair is. I went to the gym today and I've not had the time to shower. It was either shower or nap. And I'm gonna let you know that I made the wrong choice.
Fair deal. I'm cool with going ahead and doing a little intro on stuff.
Right.
If you guys are all set.
Yeah, I'm set.
Cool.
Rocking and rolling.
Take it away.
Yeah. So, welcome anybody who's watching right now or tuning in later on the recorded line. Like it's a call-in show. Welcome to the first and foremost official GodPunk RPG live stream. This is kind of the session 0, if you will, if we're going to go along with issue 0, episode 0, all that stuff. So this is kind of a brainchild of Stephen Mines and Brian's, and we dragged them along to help us flesh out the lineup. So we're going to be picking up after GodPunk issue 0. If you guys are familiar with GodPunk already, it's or if you're not, it's an indie tokusatsu project that I started a few years ago and finally got the comic out this year. It's entirely inspired by Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, all the good Toku stuff, but then also throwing in some kind of classic adventure film and Indiana Jones, The Mummy, all the good, anything Brendan Fraser's been in since like '92, all the good stuff. So we're just kind of jumping right into it and starting a new adventure in that world, building off of Connor getting his powers from an ancient artifact he discovers on a archaeological dig out in Greece that connects him to the Greek god of cicadas, Tithonus. And moving in from there, he's started his fledgling herohood based out of Kansas City and wherever else he ends up, mostly trying to protect artifacts and historic sites from being destroyed or stolen or mysteriously tampered with by WASP troopers and the mysterious militia organization that's leading all of these horrible degradations and destructions. So, with that, if we want to jump into kind of the game descriptions and what this is going to look like, or actually, let's before we do that, we'll do a proper introduction of everybody. That would make better sense, right? So,
Probably.
I'm Cam. I'm the creator and writer of GodPunk. Also the host of the Big Bad Beetle Bros podcast, and I'm an art historian by art historian by trade, and comic book and toku nerd by hobby. Yeah, whoever else wants to go.
If we're going by this, oh yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say if we're going by the stream layout, Emma would be next.
Okay.
Sure. I'm Emma. I'm also in Kansas City. I'm into all the same nerdy stuff, I suppose. Comics. He mentioned the Indiana Jones kind of vibe, or for the GodPunk. But I'm also getting some Stargate Sg1 vibes whenever I heard you describe it, and so I'm hella on board. I'm just here for the ride.
Brian, you're next.
I guess it's me. I'm Brian. I've been, unfortunately, on this GodPunk ride almost as long as Cameron has. We've recorded movie shorts together, audio shorts. I've gotten to see him take GodPunk from just a drawing to a fully fledged character. And it's been terrifying the entire way through because we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it live, just like this live stream. And I also am, hard to guess, a nerd, if you couldn't tell from the canvas posters behind me. I love manga and I love anime. Obviously, Tokyo Thompson falls right into that. I have read over 350 separate manga. I've owned 600 volumes. I've hosted my own podcast dedicated to manga, my own YouTube channel. So overall, I'm just a disappointment to my parents. But I'm just here for the ride. Steven, I'm ready to hear from you.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Steven. SteveSekai, whatever you want to call me. We are here on my Twitch channel. I am also the creator of the RPG for GodPunk. Not GodPunk itself. That is all them. I just want to make sure that they get the full credit because it's that cool. I actually have you can kind of sort of see Issue 0 right there. And oh god, it feels weird introducing myself on my own Twitch channel. But yeah, I also talk about anime, tokusatsu, video games, etc. Both here and on YouTube. And yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of talk about the mechanics of this because I love writing games. So
yeah, but that's the team that'll be we'll be chiming in whenever we get a spare second. We'll probably do, I think we're planning on doing like one session a month or so right now, kind of see how that goes, get the groove into it. I know the three of us, Brian and Steven and I, have done podcasts and live stream type stuff before and YouTube channel stuff. Emma, I know this is a little bit more of a newer frontier for you, so we're not gonna jump into like a daily or weekly thing just yet or anything like that. So we'll kind of ease everybody into it since this is new for all of us. But yeah, we can go ahead and jump in. Steve, you want to go over the the game that you've handcrafted for us?
I would love to. I'm very excited. I think it is important to state, for anybody who is, a big GodPunk fan, that anything that happens in this is not necessarily canon. Because for surprise purposes, they can't know what's happening, so anything can be scrapped in terms of what goes into the comics or future projects. Consider this fan fiction, I guess, like GodPunk fan fiction. But about the RPG, aka the technical stuff, this is where it's gonna get nice and long and really, really nerdy. So GodPunk is played in two different ways, or in two different systems. There's a social system and a combat system. The social system is for when everybody is out of their suits, they're not deified, they're just talking to people on the streets. The combat system is obviously what the name implies, it's when they're punching stuff. We're going to go through both of those. So first, the social system. Beautiful art, by Masquerades. I feel bad for you three that I can't share my screen at the same time, so I'm just kind of talking these things at you. And if there are any questions after each section, either you three or anybody at home in chat can ask them. But the overview is it uses 2d6, which if anybody is used to tabletop RPGs, they may recognize as similar to Powered by the Apocalypse, which uses the same kind of system. It's kind of like a framework for lots of games that have been made. And all the stats provide either -2 to +3 bonuses to roll. So if you roll a 3 and a 2, that's a 5, and then your stat is +2, so you rolled a 7. If you oh no, there we go. If you roll between a 0 and a 5, it is considered a flat failure on whatever you're trying to do. 6 to 10 is what I call a marginal success, which means you get some of what you wanted, but not everything. And I just remembered that earlier. Okay, cool. These are showing up on stream. Good. This slide didn't change earlier, and I just remembered that. So 6 to 10 is you get some of what you wanted, but not everything. And then an 11 plus is considered a full success. If you know D&D, it's like a critical success, where 0 to 5 is not quite a critical failure. It could be if I really feel like it, because I think it'd just be funny. But and the social character sheets, that is the main aspect between this and like a D&D or any other kind of tabletop RPGs. Every character has 2 sheets, one for when they're just normal, I guess, and one for when they're kicking ass. Can I say ass? I'm sorry. Am I allowed to cuss?
It's your channel, man.
That's true. All right, I'm going to... Everybody's allowed to cuss in terms of the stream. I'm just going to say that now. Say all the horrible things you want. Okay, not everything, but... Take that back. Roll that back. You can cuss. That's it. So the difference between a social character sheet and what you're going to see in the combat sheet, which is more typical of like any other tabletop RPG, is that characters do not level up. They have different stats from when they're in combat. The abilities are non-combative, and they'll have different tasks, which we'll get into and explain. Amanda, yes, I did say, am I allowed to cuss? That's our first question. Am I allowed to cuss? Yes. Well, okay. I guess for at least the stream, I should explain. This is going to be a podcast, correct?
Yeah, so we'll do... we're going to record all of this, and then depending on kind of how the audio turns out and stuff like that, and how much free time I find myself into, we'll chuck this into a podcast and throw it over on YouTube, and probably make a dedicated podcast stream for it to throw alongside either Big Bad Beetle Bros or something else alongside. Probably do it through Project Louder, our podcasting network, have them help out with it. So yeah, it'll be a dedicated podcast as well. So if you don't catch the stream, it'll pop up elsewhere.
Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to explain why I had to ask if I was allowed to cuss. Oh, I had something in mind a second ago about. Okay. So this is partially inspired by another RPG that I wrote. And so the reason that there's a difference between social and combat and how the consequences kind of work for that is that in combat, obviously, a character can get their butt kicked. Obviously, nobody will die, but you can get your butt kicked and run out of HP. So how do you equate that into a social setting where presumably, walking down the street, nobody's going to punch you in the stomach out of nowhere? Well, that's kind of where tasks come in and different things that we'll get into. This half of the game is meant to be very roleplay heavy. And so the consequences of whether or not you do certain things are going to be in how the other players might treat you, how other characters in the world might treat you, etc. Which we'll get into some examples in a minute here. So first off, stats, actions, and tasks. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. Anything yet? No? Okay.
Not for me.
So the 5 stats in the social system are academics, charm, guts, kindness, and skill. Now, these stats may change based on character actions. They may, even though there's no leveling up, they may increase based on certain tasks being done, or not tasks, goals, which we'll get into, or just kind of in the moment. Like, if somebody is physically restraining you, it may be harder to make a skill check because you're trying to do something like somebody's blocking you or what have you. So it's a very in the moment kind of thing, and other characters' abilities may increase or decrease that, which we'll also get into. Actions. You have 3 actions in the social system, which have a very wide array of meanings: investigate, research, and train. So investigate can be anything from going to a crime scene, or just walking the streets of the town and asking people things, or trailing somebody. If you have a lead, you want to trail someone. Research, that one is more self-explanatory. It can be going to the library, looking up things, calling different colleagues that your characters may have, and trying to just get information. And finally, train can be a physical thing, so you can train, strength or skill or what have you, or it can be social stuff. So somebody feels like, oh man, I'm kind of really awkward, and I want someone to kind of teach me how to be more charming. It's a stat that's then you can do that. The caveat being that training both requires at least 2 characters, not necessarily 2 of you, but one of you and another character, whether it be one of you or an NPC. And it requires 2 roles, both yours and the other characters. The tasks, this is where we get into the roleplay stuff, where it's, kind of more on you all to try and do this. I can only, push you so much. But then eventually, if I notice you're not doing it, I can really kind of try and punish you in world. So I ask that you try to complete at least 2 tasks per episode. They shouldn't be that hard, I don't think. They don't require necessarily real roles most of the time. And what you choose to do or not do each session will affect how other characters may perceive you. Let me get an example here real quick. I'll use Connor, because he's the first one listed. For example, Connor's tasks are: shut someone out emotionally, make a decision your father wouldn't, make someone adhere to the rules, repeat an action from the previous episode, take a risk your father wouldn't, or, nice and vague, rage against the machine. All of those have very character-based personality reasonings behind them, and they all have a pretty wide, kind of range of what that could be. But, if he keeps shutting people out emotionally week by week, or session by session, rather, people might start to yell at him if he keeps doing specifically that one every episode. Similar to tasks, but more fun and long-term. Oh, wait, I phrased that wrong. Our goals, screw it, I'm going to go to the bottom of this slide. Our goals. I forgot what I wrote just 2 hours ago. Oh, sorry, my mom is texting me about pant sizes. Like, of all things, at this moment, you're trying to ask me about my pants.
Is she buying pants for everybody on the stream, or is it just you? Because I need some new pants.
She's making pajama pants, actually. So
Okay, so my question is for pants.
Unfortunately, I think it's just a family thing. If she has some extra fabric, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Family pants.
exactly. Brian is officially part of the family. He gets some pants.
Yes.
So goals.
Fun pattern. Anyway.
Yeah. So goals are like multi-episode long tasks or challenges that, upon completion, can unlock new traits or abilities or increase a stat by +1. Let's get another example of that. I can't remember if I made everybody's goals the same. I don't think I did. Yeah, okay. So, for example, some of Connor's goals are land the finishing blow on 20 enemies. Now, obviously, you cannot do that in one session. That has to be something that's done over multiple sessions, and that's why it's replacing leveling up. So instead of unlocking things by leveling up, you have to complete these over time. But it's not just combat stuff. It could be complete the make a decision your father wouldn't task in 3 different episodes, fail to complete the shut someone out task in 3 different episodes. So that's like a more positive thing. Try and be more open. Etc. I'm not going to spoil the rest of these, because these are all fun. But there you go. The other 2 big things in the social sheets are traits and abilities. So traits, they're similar in that they are things that the players activate and can either provide bonuses or do different things. However, traits are considered passive and inherent aspects that do not require the character to trigger. So the example I use in the rule sheet is Magnus has a lucky trait in which he can re-roll up to 3 different rolls in one episode. Now, Brian has to say, I'm using this. It's something he does. But in the world, Magnus is not choosing to be lucky in that moment. It's just kind of happening. As opposed to that, abilities are active and overt actions taken by characters in scenes, which are just kind of like the little vignettes that we'll have of the roleplay. And I put cannot be used remotely, which probably doesn't make sense if I don't explain this. So, abilities tend, in the social system, tend not to be like a superpower. It's stuff like... Let me use a different character. Who wants an ability read off? Anybody?
Go with Emily, since we've done a couple Magnus and Connor things.
Okay, yes. All right. So, Emily, here we go. Workaholic. When taking the research action, you can roll any academics check you make twice and take the higher roll. That was a bad example. Never mind. Okay, or Keen Eye, while taking the investigation action, you gain +2 to skill checks specifically to discover information on another person. So these are kinds of things that have to be done in the moment, and I don't remember if anybody has any. I think somebody does, where it's like, oh, you are trying to support this person in a moment. So, if Magnus is off staying in the hotel room doing something, but Emily's, going around the town asking people questions. The Magnus can't be like, oh yeah, I support her. You would have to be there. You would have to actually role play how you were supporting her and being like, oh yeah, no, you can do it. Or, talking her up to whoever you're talking to, whoever she's trying to, interrogate. Be like, she can, rip all your fingernails off and you won't even know that she moved. So, whatever, just say stuff.
Emma, that sounds terrifying.
Look, I've seen it happen. It really is truly terrifying. But it's also really impressive. So that's the difference between traits and abilities. Traits happen inherently. You all have to actually trigger it, but the character doesn't. And abilities are things that the character has to do, or it makes sense in the moment. And then goals are the multi-episode things that we talked about. Combat system, you can tell that we're on a big slide because the orange light bathes my face. So this is where we're going to flip our sheet and we're going to talk about the fun punching people stuff. So, more beautiful art. The overview for this is after deifying, players switch to their god link sheet. Taking actions, you will have 3 actions that you can take. You will be able to take 2 actions per turn, except attack. You can't use that. Rather, you can use anything twice except attack. So you can move and attack. You could just move twice. You could move and use an ability. You can attack and use an ability. You can use an ability twice. I think that's actually all the combinations. I was just trying to do a fake list, and I did a real list. But you can't attack twice. New stats, new abilities, and the introduction of properly leveling up, like you would in most things. What I'm calling the 4-attack system, we'll get there. And then we'll talk about consequences, which is how we actually are going to punish you for screwing up, because I can't let you get away with everything. And I don't want to. It brings me great pleasure to, punish you. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
That's kinky, and I'm here for it.
Okay, good. I'm glad somebody's here for it. All right. Yeah. Kinks aside, stats and leveling up. So the stats that we have changed to are now clearly way more combat focused. So before it was like academics and charm. And when you're fighting, presumably you're not going to be pulling out a book and reading something. So instead you have strength, dexterity, wisdom, constitution, and resistance. Strength and dex are for physical attacks. So, depending on which character you are and what your weapon might be, you might use strength versus dex. It's more you're using one or the other in terms of your attacks. Wisdom is for things like any kind of spell sort of thing. Constitution is defending from physical attacks, and your resistance is more magical defense. Leveling up, it's an RPG. I assume we all know how leveling up works. Every once in a while I'll go, you leveled up, good job. And then you will either get a stat increase, which you get to pick a stat to bump up by +1. You will unlock an ability, or which is scripted, you don't get to pick that. Or an ability will be upgraded. And over time you'll also get more health and stuff like that. The 4-attack system, here's where it's going to start getting super technical. So, I didn't put this in, I'm just going to have to talk, and everybody's going to just have to keep up with me here. There's 2 types of enemies, grunts and large enemies. Grunts there will typically be more of in a fight. There might be 3, 5, 28, I don't know. Depends on how I feel that day. And they typically will only have 1 to 2 HP. Very easy to beat. But large enemies will have significantly more HP and will be significantly tougher, which is shown by a normal attack is always free. You can always do it. It does 1 damage to a grunt. but it does absolutely nothing to a large enemy. Why would you ever use a normal attack on a large enemy? I hear you not asking, but you should be asking. Nope, nobody's.
Don't you worry.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's because there is a nice little almost currency system called offerings. Get it? Because God's offerings.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Good. Thank you. A normal attack will garner you +1 offering. There are other ways to get offerings. If you do something that I deem very good and like in character instead of D&D's inspiration, I might give you some offering. Or certain abilities might have offerings, which we'll get to. And how you use those offerings is either using abilities or using some of these other attacks. For example, the weapon attack. A weapon attack is significantly stronger. It does 2 to grunts, so it can pretty much just kill a grunt outright. And it does 1 to a large enemy, but it costs 1 offering. And a special attack is 2 to X amount of grunts. It depends like on how many are there, or like in a cone. It'll vary. It won't be like a specific number. Like you can only hit 3 of them. But if it's like, oh, there are 5 like all lined up, then yeah, you're gonna hit all 5 and you're gonna destroy them. And it will do 2 nice hull damage to a large enemy if you choose to target them, but it costs 2 hull offerings. And then finally, the finishing blow is free. You can just not use it whenever you want. I was gonna say that, and I went, that defeats the whole purpose of what I'm about to say next. It outright will kill the large enemy, but, well, kill. Depends. Defeat. But that enemy must be at 0 health. So, a large enemy, once it hits 0, will not go down. It will still technically be there, and you will have to land a finishing blow to properly get rid of it. So if you miss a finishing blow, he can still hurt you. But once he's at 0 health, that'll just instantly KO him. Abilities. So, in the interest of using different slides and varying up the PowerPoint, I've done a compare and contrast here between the social system abilities and the combat system abilities. Oh boy. So social system, you only have a total of 3. They're active only, as we went over. They're free. You can do them whenever. They are unlocked through goals, and they are the same throughout the whole game. The combat system abilities, you have a nice whole long list. There's a bunch. They're all pretty cool, I think. That's because I wrote them, though, so I might be biased. There are both active and passive abilities. So there's obviously no traits there. You might just get an ability that is just something that helps you or might happen. They might cost offerings. I think some of them might give you some. I don't remember at the moment. I'm pretty sure there's a couple that do. They're unlocked through leveling up. And some of them can be upgraded, because I don't like when you're playing an RPG and it's like, oh, well, I have this really weak ability still sitting there from when I was level 1. So later on it might get a little better because it needs to keep up with everything else that you're unlocking. And we can go through all of those in a bit if we feel like it. But finally, consequences. The fun part for me, because this is where I get to have fun. If you miss a roll, if you hit a failure, because it uses the same dice system, by the way. I guess I forgot to mention that. It's still 2d6. So if you roll a 0 through 5 and you miss your attack completely, then the enemy's going to beat you up. Logically. Presumably. So the difference here between, say, a D&D where the enemy just gets a turn is the enemy will only react to what you do. So if you get a marginal success, they might be able to do something like a small attack or push you away or something. Full success, you just hit them nice and good and they reel back from the attack. They can't do anything. But if you fail completely and you miss the attack, then they're going to hit you hard. And if you run out of HP from being hit a bunch, then you will not die, because we need to keep the 3 of you around. That's how a story works. But you will be knocked out of the fight, and it will be up to the other 2, or 1 person if 2 of you get knocked out, to actually finish it. And if all of you are knocked out, just bang up job. Really proud of you. And I've been talking enough. Do we have any questions?
I have thousands of questions, but none of them pertain to this.
It's fair.
So for because these are obviously like pre-existing characters. Do we need to print off character sheets that you've got ready for us?
So that is a great question. There are pre-made character sheets, and you know what? I'm gonna put this on the stream too. There are pre-made character sheets. They are linked in a nice, fun. In a Google Doc that has all of these rules properly written out, and it makes way more sense there. And you are welcome to print these out, but they are also kind of in a way that you could easily, copy it into a Google Doc of your own and do all this. Because they're not... I'm looking at it, it'd be obnoxious to print out because there's 10 lines on a second page. It's like, I gotta flip over just to see my goals. I digress. So yes, the character sheets, for everybody also watching at home, sorry if you're listening to this, you're just gonna have to use your imagination. Look a little something like what's on the screen right now. It starts with your stats. There's a nice block where I have grayed out, or I guess whited out where your stats start. So I'm just on Magnus's. So his academics are +0. Sorry, he's not the smartest boy. Hey, it's better than -2. But his charm is +2. He's a charming boy. His guts are +0 though. His kindness is +1 and his skill is +0. The actions are the same for everybody. And then there are 3 traits. You will mark 1 trait at the start of the game, and then if you want to unlock the other ones later as you complete goals, you can. Same with abilities. There are 3 abilities. So here we go. Oh, here we go. Here's one of the support ones that I was trying to talk about earlier. So Magnus has Lending a Hand. If a character must make a skill check during an event you are both in, you can offer to roll the check with them and add +2 to their roll. So obviously, Magnus can't do that from, 10 miles away. He has to be there. He has to actually help. And he has to make the check with them. I think. Yes. I just read it. Why did I forget that? So that's kind of the idea there. The tasks, as we've already talked about, are character specific, and so are the goals, some of them being a little more, not necessarily personality specific, but Connor had land 20 finishing, blows just period, whereas Magnus has land the finishing blow on 5 executives, which are the bigger enemies. So there's less, but he has to do it on specifically the bigger enemies instead of any kind of enemy. And then, for the sake of balancing who we're showing off, we're going to go to Emily's Godlink sheet. So the HP is at the top. It's only going to range from 4 to 6 for everybody. So don't worry about a lot of math. Trust me, I hate math as much as pretty much everybody. Math sucks. And then, as you can see, the stats are pretty much set up the same way, except with the new combat stats. Attacks are the same for everybody. It just explains what those are. Abilities, which is a nice little list here of all the different abilities that you have. And a little checkbox so that you can mark when an ability gets upgraded. And then the level up progression is at the bottom, where you can see how much health you'll have and what you unlock at each level. Does that answer the question? I hope that did. I just kind of went off.
I'm excited to break out dice, though.
Yes! I love dice. Nothing feels better than a good set of dice. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm kind of jealous because you all get to roll a lot of dice. And I get to just only react to how you roll dice. I might just have my own set here and just roll it for fun when you're talking.
Hear you roll dice, just, oh god, what's he doing?
The answer, nothing. I'm just doing it for fun. Oh, there's a random box here. Oh no. I need to... There we go. I fixed it. Okay. Whew. Alright, are there any other questions from... Brian, if you have any questions about life in general, I mean, I guess this could be the time to ask it.
I mean, what color are pants going to be?
I think your options are... It's a nice pink pattern or like a blue pattern.
Can I get both? Like one leg one leg the other?
I can ask. We'll find out. But I'm going to make sure that one leg is like short. One is like a short pant leg and the other one's like a full pant leg.
Can you just make me a pair of like pajama shorts? I would be comfortable with that.
There are shorts. That is an option.
See? Boom. I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I know Cam probably wants a nice vest. Blue vest.
Pajama vest.
We're all getting a whole wardrobe. Steven's mom.
Is there a cat behind you? That's my question.
No, that is Winston.
Oh, no, that's a dog. Oh, my God. Hello.
He is a pocket beagle. Affectionately called a pocket beagle because the lady who sold him to us said that he was going to be small. The little moron actually weighs 29 pounds.
Aww.
And he has separation anxiety. So he's curled up on the
pocket.
couch. It's a big pocket, especially for somebody who's my size. I was not expecting that. When we got him, his belly rubbed the grass. So I was like, oh, he's going to be fine. Nope, then he just turned into a regular-sized beagle, and I was disappointed.
Oh. I wish Luna was here. I usually have a picture of her on my stream. But she's gone. Luna's a part Basset. She's also she's really clever, and other times she's just the biggest idiot on the planet. This turned into a dog podcast.
The Dog Cast, where we talk about the animals that we own.
Let's go. Are there any questions at home? The answer's probably no, but that's fine. I would say, like, we could easily put these rules somewhere with the sheets, and then if people want to make their own. The fun part, I guess, I'm going to put this on the stream so they can't see them a little. It's an outline, so you won't know what it actually looks like. The fun part to me about how this is going to work is that they're going to be nice. I get to make really fun kind of enemies and characters on the side, because again, this is basically now like my fan fiction. This is my GodPunk fan fiction. So there's a little silhouette of some people, I don't know, that we might see. And I'm just so excited. I'm really excited because I just get to, look up different mythologies and make fun enemies for you all. I think we said we might have some guests at some point, maybe, if we feel like it.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I've talked to a couple other indie toku folks and some friends and stuff, and I think it'd be fun to throw in. If you've got a villain that you think has a particular voice, and somebody that would be a good fit for it, or if you I don't know, if we need a throwaway character, we got a lot of throwaway friends, so we can make it work.
Wow,
we have a lot of throwaway friends. Yeah, no, we could absolutely make that work.
I'm a throwaway friend too, so it's okay.
That's fair. If they want to actually play their characters, I'm sorry, I'm playing with like a McDonald's like koozie. I've been playing with that for the whole time. I apologize, but if they want
a fan for my wedding,
yeah, no, that's fair. All right, I'm not alone. If they want to play their own characters, I can also whip up something nice and quick. But if they don't want to, really dedicate themselves to that, then I get it. I get it. I'll only be massively hurt and spend all night crying, but. Yeah.
It'll happen one way or the other.
The crying? Yes. It's a nightly occurrence anyway, so. I think that's all from me. Then?
Okay. Yeah, I'm pumped. I've read through the rule set like 2 or 3 times, and we'll I will. I know I've got the link floating around somewhere. I know it's in our group chat somewhere, but I'll put it in like a pinned post on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and put it in a post on Instagram probably, and then I'm sure there's I can put it in the link tree. There we go. I have a link tree for GodPunk. Duh. Perfect place to put links on the link tree. So yeah, we'll put it on there. Yeah. We'll put that stuff all there so you guys can read through and get an idea of the characters' stats and all that, and then also we can, that we'll have easy access to it as well whenever we need it. I guess I flubbed this at the beginning, but the characters that we're playing, for those of you who don't know, because I'm so used now after the comic coming out to most people I talk to at least know the gist of it, but I will be playing Connor Thorne, GodPunk himself. Brian will be Magnus McGrath, Pseudology, and Emma will be Emily Thompson, Psychopomp. And then Steve is our god and master.
And we'll be everybody else.
And one thing that Cameron and I figured out is I am not able to actually pronounce whatever my god's name is. I'm actually Coyote. Yeah, I can't do that.
I am so glad that you actually said it, so now I know actually how it's pronounced.
Steve was over here just sweating bullets like
I'm going to have to say that at some point. Oh, no. I know now. We're good.
Lean into it with me. It's just Coyote. It works out.
Okay, yeah. It's fair. If the man playing the character doesn't know how to pronounce it, I guess I don't have to worry that much.
That's in character, though. It totally works.
Yeah.
It does. Like, that's the great thing about Cameron and Connor being pretty close to each other, and myself and Magnus. It's not like I'm role-playing. I just get lucky in the fact that he's almost exactly like me in every aspect. Because I am a +2 charming in real life. I think you made him a little bit smarter than me, because I'm obviously a -1 on intelligence. But we got lucky on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can act up, right? Just act a little bit smarter. I believe in you.
Do I need like a high-class accent to do that?
To play a +0 character, I don't think so. I think you could just... Once you get to +3, you have to start sounding British.
Oh, we're screwed. I can do Irish and I can do Scottish. I cannot do a British accent. I'm going to be honest. And even then, my Irish and Scottish are like, oh, that's pretty good for an American. But everyone from overseas is like, wow, yeah, you're definitely American.
I can do... I'm going to say none so that nobody ever asks me to do one.
What accents can you do there, Steven? I want to hear you do an accent.
No.
You were about to commit to one.
I'm not.
We have to wait until we have to somehow shape the story so we intentionally encounter characters with accents so that Steven has to do accents all the time.
And the group goes to Minnesota, and I'm going to have to do the Minnesotan accent the whole time. Oh boy, it's just...
I'm just picturing like one of the big bads, just like talking like a Minnesota Canadian guy. Oh, hey, I'm sorry about that. Hey, didn't mean to
just make like 3 of the executives Canadian, just because that's like all I can do. I have a friend like from Canada. Now I'm just on accents. It's like the dog cast all over again. Welcome to the accent cast. Like he's from Canada, and his Canadian accent is Jamaican. He can't do a Canadian accent to save his life.
So his Jamaican accent's down here, man. He's talking about all the times that he's come down to the different places, man. He's going to be able to do it all the time.
Wow. That was an accent.
It existed, that's for sure. It didn't sound like your normal voice. We'll be okay.
Oh, God. It works.
Yeah. Is there, Steve, is there anything else that you want to cover, kind of since we've gone over the gist of the basics and all that kind of stuff? And
I mean, if you got me started on anything else, I'd just basically be reading every character sheet and every ability because I like them all. Yeah, I mean, I already said it's, this is fan fiction. Take most everything with a grain of salt. There will be a couple beats that kind of fall, like the main arc. And by that, I mean, like, the first session and the last session will be the story, and everything else is just kind of fun filler. There's some cool stuff in store. There's some stuff that I'm very excited for to see happen. Um, yeah, if I keep talking, I'm just gonna start reading off everything that I've written. So
No, you're good. Uh, yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes, and yeah, I'm kind of pretty loose with the canon and canonical stories and all that kind of stuff with Godpunk, since it's we've got the comic and we've done a couple live action stuff, and there's may or may not be more live action stuff coming up from some other creators that people may know more than Godpunk. And obviously now doing the RPG and anything else that I can kind of like shake a stick at to get any way that we can get the story told and get some narrative flowing and get to play around with these characters. I'm all for it, and it's going to be really exciting to see. And I mean, you start getting some cool stories going, and some of it's going to be deemed worthy of moving on to the next project or whatever, or however that works. I don't know. I should know how it works because it's my project, I guess, but that's way too much thought process for me. But yeah, if anybody hasn't checked out Godpunk issue 0 yet, it's on Etsy. If you just look up Godpunk on Etsy, that's going to be like the first and one of the only things that pops up. Digital and physical comics are available on there. And those physical ones are ones that I'll be physically sending out. So you have the option to get at least the writer's autograph on those. And then they're also available on Indie Planet. So if you go to indieplanet.com, INDYPLANET, Indie Planet, and search Godpunk on there, it's the same story. They'll pop up. And those are print to order. So you can digital or physical there. And there's no, they're not going to run out. They print a new one every time anybody orders one. So if you if you don't want to jump in, too green on the story, and you want to know at least a little bit of what's going on in the origin, then you can jump into that. It's really just the bare bones origin story of Godpunk, Connor getting his powers and starting his journey, and then a fun little combat manga snippet at the end that Masquerace and myself worked on for a Twitter competition called Tournament of Two Souls. So if you guys want to check any of that stuff out, that was a fun, another kind of narrative experiment where we got to play around with the characters a little bit. So that's kind of all I've got going for right now. We'll probably throw this up on, I will figure out the YouTube and podcasting stuff and probably get this thrown up in like a week or so, and make all that kind of announcement and everything. And then, yeah, we'll start planning and schedule the full first session where we'll really dive into it and have a good time. I'm excited. You guys got anything else?
I will. Not yet.
Don't you worry. Much like Magnus, I'll have plenty of things that I get wrong going forward.
Yeah, the good thing about it being new for all of us and all of that kind of stuff is that it really doesn't matter if we screwed up or forget the math or act out of character or anything. So
Wait, I have to do math?
no, it'll be
Steven
+1 or mine. I will have to do some math, but don't worry. If I mess up, none of you will know because I'm making it up. I get it the easiest. Just like, well, maybe I just forgot to write like half the story. It's just on the spot. I'm sure you won't be able to tell.
I'm all for winging
That's
it.
a pretty cool move. Yeah,
Yes.
hey, you know what? That's what we do.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that closes us out for the first session 0.
All right. Thank you all for coming by. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Appreciate you inviting us.
Yes, it was good to meet all three of you. This was actually the first time I've talked to any of them via video call.
Yeah.
So
I guess I didn't realize that till we jumped on the call at the beginning that I went to school with Emma. I have known Brian for a few years now, and the three of us all live in the same hub city. And then Steven is in the same city before I knew him, and then left by the time I actually knew him, and then all of our interactions have just been online, and so this is the first actual video call, and it's the first time that all three of us have ever met.
Yeah,
which is cool.
True. I've never met Cameron before in my life.
Right?
It's not like you were part of my wedding.
Or you mine.
Oh, that would be awkward.
No. Yeah, that's all
All right.
I've got this session. Thank you guys for hopping on. I'm excited to jump into it.
I'm excited to play and lose and get knocked unconscious. And then
Oh, that'll happen a lot. Don't worry. I'll make sure that happens just for you.
Perfect. You and your JoJo's. I'm assuming that's JoJo's in the background.
It is. It was up to date as of about a year ago.
And
It only cost me like $300.
Yeah, it's JoJo's is way overpriced. Like,
It
to
is.
be honest, it's very oddly overpriced.
I mean, to be fair, it is like only hardcover. Like they don't release any other form of it. So like, but yeah, it's a bit overpriced.
Soft cover. Imagine if they released a soft cover and everyone would buy it, and it'd be even more popular, and there'd be even more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure games.
They're finally. Now this is a JoJo cast. Sorry to the two of you that we keep doing this. They're finally doing part 5, so like maybe it won't have a horrible translation.
That's a lie. Have you read any? One Piece translations are still leaving Nekomamushi and Inarashi as Dog Storm and Cat Tooth. Like that's the literal translation. They went with the literal translations of the names instead of leaving it with the Japanese names. Like everyone else is like, they're like, oh yeah, everyone else is gonna leave their regular Japanese name except for the dog and the cat that we're literally gonna call Dog and Cat. Oh, God.
Genius.
Look. Part 5 sucks anyway. Bold take, not truly, but my friend Chase here says Dogstorm and Cat Viper are cool names though.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that they aren't cool names, but when every single time that I read it, it was Inarashi and Nekomamushi, and then they're like suddenly changed to that, I get very confused. Again, much like Magnus, I'm easily confused by situations that go on around me.
But you have to understand that Part 5 of JoJo's famously has like one of the worst fan translations, and nobody ever fixed it because nobody likes Part 5 until the anime came out.
Which one was Part 5?
It's Italy. They're gangsters. Yeah.
Golden Wind.
Yes.
Golden Wind.
Everybody it was famously like everybody who read the manga hates Part 5. It's like considered one of the absolute worst. And then the anime came out, and everybody who only watches the anime was like, that was amazing. That's like one of the best parts of JoJo's. Everybody who read the manga was like, no, it's not. What are you talking about?
Dio Brando Sono.
Yes. Giorno Giovanna.
Yeah, which again makes zero sense. And then Stone Ocean, did you see they're coming out with a new JoJo's? I don't read JoJo's. No.
Part 6 is worse than Part 5. I couldn't finish reading Part 6. I had to go to Part 7. It gets incomprehensibly weird. If the two of you want to leave, also don't feel like we're holding you here talking about JoJo.
We're holding you here. You are stuck here.
Yeah, you have to listen to us talk about JoJo's. Part 6
door doesn't unlock until the Zoom meeting ends.
Oh yeah, I guess actually Cam is stuck because he's in charge of the meeting.
Technically.
Cameron, I planned this all out to inconvenience you slightly.
Yeah, Part 6 is just it. I love Jolene, but man, everything that was weird just got weirder, and like it just becomes so incomprehensible by the end.
Would you say that it's kind of bizarre?
I knew it was coming. I'm still disappointed.
Now I feel like I have to close the meeting.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I mean, again, you're talking to a guy who's been reading a boxing manga that's like 1,350 chapters long, so I can't complain about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It started in the exact same month as Berserk. Okay, so like it's realistically a classic. We consider Berserk a classic. Let's consider this a classic. And
It is
JoJo's actually
objectively.
even older.
Yeah,
JoJo's
it
is
started
actually
like
older.
80 something.
So technically, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga started in 1987.
Cool.
And
Wow.
ran all up and is still going to this day.
Yep.
Berserk started in October of 1989, and so did Hajime no Ippo. Oddly enough, when it comes to total volumes created, look at me going on a manga rant. Welcome to the Manga Cast. You're welcome, everybody. I always transition to this. Technically, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, while it has been going on longer and it has fewer chapters overall, has almost as many volumes as Hajime no Ippo, even though Hajime no Ippo has roughly 132 volumes out at this moment in time.
To be fair to JoJo's, it did go monthly during part 6. It switched to
It's just a quitter
monthly
attitude. That's a
and
quitter
has
attitude.
been going monthly ever since then. That's why part 8 took no shit 10 years to complete. It just ended 10 years later.
Wow, all of you are in it for the short haul. Yeah, I've been living on this manga train for way too long. It's ridiculous, and I'm depressed with myself. Like, it feels like I gave up a part of my life. Like Emma mentioned, Stargate SG1, awesome. It makes sense. It goes through, and you get like 6 different parts within the span of like 10 years. It works. And you also have Farscape. You get like 3 or 4 seasons. I love Farscape. No one knows what Farscape was. Thank you, Emma. You understand me.
Fucking love Farscape. Also starring Ben Browder, who was in Stargate.
Yes, and actually, the dark-haired, I can never remember the characters' names. I'm the worst at character names. Yes, she was also in both Stargate and Farscape. Yes, I understand. I am nerd across the board. I might not look it, but I am all nerd all the time.
Can you talk Babylon 5?
I cannot. That's the one thing that I never actually got into because I did not have cable growing up.
Wait,
That's
what?
okay.
So
What was it?
Babylon 5.
Oh no! I thought for a second I thought you said Firefly, and I was gonna get excited.
I mean,
Also, MetaHulk does say Ippo kinda goated.
Ippo is not just kind of goated. I appreciate you, MetaHulk. Yeah, Ippo is absolutely a goat. It is just intense. And it's right now we're in a... So Ippo technically retired from boxing 150 chapters ago, and we're waiting for him to get back in. So it's been 3 years that he's been retired, and every single chapter, somebody's like, he's going to come back? He's definitely going to come back. He's coming back next chapter. And every single time we're disappointed. And George Morikawa, the author, is straight up just, pardon the French, but he's blue balling us right now. He's just like, nah, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back? Nah, got you again, guys. He's not coming back. Like, that's how
I mean, I already talked about punishing you all. You're allowed to say blue balls on the stream at this point. Technically, actually, the stream is labeled 18 plus. It's mature audiences only.
NC-17.
They have to click a button to say I'm okay hearing the fuck word before they're allowed to watch. So
For shame.
I know. I've had someone come in and was like, I'm 17. Like, get out. You lied. That button says 18 plus. You lied.
It's just like when you go onto an alcohol website and they say you have to be 21. They're like, I'm like, oh, okay, that seems very odd and specific that you have to be 21 to go to an alcohol website just to view what they have. But then you also have to send them your ID to purchase something. I'm like, that's not how liquor stores work.
No.
As long as you have enough money, they just let you walk out with anything, I think.
I cannot condone this.
What's our legal liability? Have we checked the contracts?
SteveSekai does not condone going into an alcohol store and trying to buy things under the age of 21.
It's illegal. No one should do it. Just like buying tobacco in Kansas City. If you're under the age of 21, you should not do it.
I thought you just meant buying tobacco,
In general,
period, for a
yeah.
second. I was like, you can't buy tobacco in Kansas
We've
City.
banned tobacco entirely.
No.
It's a wasteland.
Like,
Let's go.
How would I be able to smoke like pipe tobacco? Like, I would be, imagine walking around like Gandalf, like with a really long wooden pipe, smoking like pipe tobacco, and suddenly out of nowhere, cops just yell, get him, and you get tackled for smoking the pipe.
That's the trick. They force you to go over to Kansas just to smoke
Mhm.
tobacco.
Yeah, joke's on you. I'm already in Kansas and it sucks. And anyone who's watching that's from Kansas, yeah, no, you know I'm right.
Nobody from
No.
Kansas is watching this, let's be honest.
They'll tune in later from their satellite
Well,
internet.
Color TV that they got there a couple weeks ago. Oh, man, they're gonna be watching that when they get off the horse. Come on now.
Y'all heard of this brand new CRT technology?
You heard of this new? I believe it's called, and I quote, an 8-track player.
Ooh.
Man, it's gonna be the new thing.
And you've nailed the Wichita accent there.
That's the one accent he can do.
Yeah.
Hey, I can also do a Southern California accent.
Can you?
Like, oh my god, that's just one of those things, like, way
Right,
over
fair
there, that, like,
Fair
when you
enough,
get
yeah.
on those waves, man, it's a different world. It's a different world. Okay.
Nailed it. I'm going to jump out of here and go get something to eat.
I
Okay,
am
yes.
also gonna jump out of here because
I'm
it's
trying to-
time for me.
Bye.
I was trying to catch if my stomach growls were going to pick up on the mic. Or
Yes.
that's always
Yes.
fun on a podcast. But
All right, we'll talk
Farewell,
to you guys later.
goodbye.
Nice meeting you,
Yeah.
Emma.
It was nice
Steven,
to meet
talking
you
with
all.
face to face.
thank you guys
Bye-bye.
for joining in.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, there we go. Leave meeting. Okay. Oh, now you can just see my display capture. Just do that real quick so you don't. Nope. Here's the last one. There we go. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back tonight. Probably streaming like normal. But yeah, that was session 0. Hope everybody enjoyed. Have fun. Goodbye. Farewell. Ending